Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Devin. And we are here to give our thoughts and reactions, our reflections of episode 4 of Miss Marvel, which is titled Seeing Red. Turning red, seeing red. I'm feeling it's been a very red year, I feel like.
Yeah, I told you the comparisons from the first episode. It's right there.
The signs were there all along. And before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, how's your week been, man? What you been watching? What you been playing? What you been reading?
Looking at the screen behind you, it reminded me I actually beat Fallen Order recently.
Nice.
Great ending. I won't say anything, but
I literally just started it. Like, you can see it on my screen behind me.
You got the basic poncho going.
Yeah, it's the super basic poncho on the Xbox Series X, ladies and gentlemen.
I also started watching Severance finally. Watched 2 episodes last night. It is very good so far. For anybody who, like you and I, who have worked in an office, it is very creepy.
Maybe we should record it or cover it on the show. I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
I think it got picked up for a second season.
I think so. I mean, I think the Emmys are, or voting for the Emmys, like, just ended like a few days ago or something as well. So I don't know. Like, it's that is another show I need to get on to. So hopefully, maybe that'll be like my next thing. And I still got to finish Barry, of course, but yeah. So definitely playing some Fallen Order. I literally just started like 10 minutes ago, so I just figured see how much I can squeeze in on my side. Thing already I mentioned, I already finished Plague Tale Innocence. Very good game. Combat could use some work. It looks like the second entry fixes a lot of issues. But yeah, man, I just been watching some Avatar: The Last Airbender, book 1. Been revisiting that series because of all the amazing Avatar news. So I'm very excited to dive back into that world. Other than that, I haven't really watched anything. I mean, we're kind of just gearing up for Stranger Things Volume 2 for Season 4. So there's that. But, I mean, and Miss Marvel, of course, obviously, the reason why we're here.
That's why we're
sure.
Here.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, what are we talking about here today? Yeah, so Devin, are you ready to just jump into this episode? We got another great episode, I should say.
We're on the road. We're traveling.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back after this introduction to Miss Marvel, episode 4.
Maybe they're right. I spend too much time in Fantasyland.
That is not you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world. That's a fantasy too.
All right, and we are back with our episode 4 of Miss Marvel. You just heard a small little snippet of the trailer. It gets me every single time. That Blinded by the Lights, like, I really love how they were able to just incorporate that in with Nightlight.
The soundtrack for the series has been great so far.
It really has. Like, every single episode has been hitting.
Every intro just gets you going. I don't know what the song was this week, but it was really good.
Yes, I believe it is a either an Arabic musician or Pakistani musician. I can't remember who, but I really enjoyed the intro this week for it. It's like, it almost reminds me of WandaVision in a way. A little bit different, but, still putting its own little spin onto it. So For everyone out there listening, this is how it's going to go down. If you're new here, we always get into our initial reactions first, then we get into a little bit of spoilers, mention a few Easter eggs along the way, and then we get into our final thoughts and our ratings for this episode. So I watched this episode and I had to watch heavy spoilers review of it because, I mean, I always usually do.
As do I. He didn't do one last week, and he was really really felt bad about it.
He felt bad about it, but it's like, I mean, again, this is like my fourth, maybe fifth time saying this. Disney needs to stop releasing everything on Wednesdays. It's literally like Heavy Spoiler said in his video. There are more days in the week than just Wednesdays. Drop it on a Monday. Drop it on a Friday. Something.
Marvel Mondays.
Marvel Mondays, or, I mean, they've been doing Marvel Wednesdays for a while. And I like that. I think that's fine. But don't have two of your biggest properties release things on the same day, because that is just way too much. Because you run into this issue. I mean, like we said, June 22nd, I think I said it on our Umbrella Academy spoiler-free review, which is up for everybody to listen to, that Umbrella Academy dropped that day on June 22nd. We have Multiverse of Madness drop on Disney+. And you had episode 3 of Miss Marvel, which we also covered here on the podcast. And you have the season finale of Obi-Wan, which you also covered here in the podcast as well. So it's like, I don't understand why they keep just, dumping everything on Wednesdays. Like, I get, you want something to give people in the middle of the week. That's fine. I feel like Miss Marvel is enough. So I don't know. That's just me. And I totally agree with heavy spoilers there. But I'm going to pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions to Miss Marvel episode 4.
Seeing red. There actually wasn't too much red in this. I guess there was just a lot of colors, just very colorful episode. I'm sure red was in there throughout, but I think for me in this series so far, this is probably the first great episode to me. Everything else has been pretty good so far, but this is the first one that kind of like really wowed me, just because of the world building and the surprises and the locations and just everything that this episode gave to us. I love that we traveled to Pakistan and got to see some of that culture. Very bright and colorful. Like Heavy Spoilers mentioned, it didn't have that yellow tint filter that a lot of movies do for like Middle Eastern type countries. I just love where the story is going, because I feel like for the first time in a while, nobody knows where it's going. Nobody's making predictions as to what's going to happen, because nobody knows what's going to happen. Probably for the first time since like the Loki finale and even Moon Knight to another degree, where people just don't really know where the story's going. And it's just a nice, pleasant surprise, because they're keeping us on our toes and we're getting some twists and turns along the way. And it's nice when, we both love new rock stars, but they do a very good job of predicting exactly what's going to happen in these series. And I don't think they've been able to. Eric Voss has been stumped so far, and he's been loving it too, because he's along for the ride and he's being surprised along the way as well. So yeah, I love this episode. And I can't wait for 5 and 6. Episodes 4 and 5 continue to be the trend for these Marvel shows to really up the ante.
So I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Devin. When it comes to this series, as far as my initial reactions, number one, I guess we'll get into this during. Well, actually, number one, I do not know Iman Vellani was Canadian at all, because there was
a nice little joke in there for that.
Yeah, nice little joke. Because I was like, the way she said it, I'm like, that means something. But I do concur with your thoughts there, Devin. I'm loving this series so far. I mean, WandaVision has really been kind of like the pinnacle for me for a while. But I mean, I think Loki is like honestly kind of like a close second. But I mean, depending how the rest of the series goes, because I don't want to make any preconceived, I don't want to speak too soon. But so far, I'm really, really loving it. Every episode is pretty much hit for me. This episode was very, forthright when it comes to just, it has action. It has, the story beats are there. It's pushing things forward. Kamala Khan, we finally see is in Pakistan. And like you said, it is really nice just to show how colorful Pakistan is. And all of its, these vibrant colors, these different threads that people are wearing, unlike the, like you said, the yellow and brown tint that you usually see when it comes to a lot of these movies. I'm not sure if you really remember, but I think it was back when Age of Ultron was out, when we first quote unquote went to Wakanda, and it just had that super weird, just like yellow mustard, like tents everywhere. And it's like, well, and then like, as soon as they're there, they have that really weird, like Middle Eastern look. And then like as soon as they're back in like the in New York, everything is like vibrant and colorful again, which is really, really weird. But I digress there. But overall, I think this is a fantastic episode. I mean, we get so much of honestly, when it comes to Miss Marvel, I will say, and I think heavy spoilers kind of touched on it as well, that there's a lot of backstory with the side characters, especially Kamala's mother and the relationship that she has with Kamala's grandmother. So we see a lot of that in this episode as well. And it's all about family ties when it comes to this. We finally see Kamala's cousins. They kind of sort of like ditch her in a way. They're calling her the ABC. It was like American Born something. I can't remember what it actually stood for, but I really just enjoy this episode. It just digs deeper and deeper into the mystery of this bangle and the Jinn and what they're about. And we finally see our first appearance of the Red Daggers that actually appear in the comics, that I'm sure Iman Vellani is more than familiar with.
I believe in the comics it was just the one guy who was the Red Dagger. I don't know if there was like this organization. I guess kind of getting into spoilers, but this organization in this series where they're called the Red Daggers. I'm not sure about.
Yeah,
but I know for sure like his name is Red Dagger in the comics.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So, the start of this episode, they're on the plane to Pakistan because, Kamala's grandmother told her that she needed to come. And, it's really just, a mother-daughter trip type situation. And you can definitely see that Kamala's mother is worried about her. And you can see the likeness between Kamala and her grandmother about, the wild imaginations type situation. And I just think it's very beautiful. No Bruno this episode. And no...
we don't talk about Bruno.
We never... Apparently, this... See, the show hasn't forgotten about Bruno. They're just giving Bruno a hard time.
I'm surprised he wasn't coming along for the trip just to carry around her luggage and do everything she needs.
Honestly, yeah, for sure. But yeah, no Nakia this episode. Well, so-and-so, but we see that Kamala is trying to reach out to Nakia after she finds out that she is, I guess we're going to call her Nightlight until she gets the title of Miss Marvel. Because I love that
We're getting closer. We're getting like a piece here, a piece there. We get the, I don't know what color you'd call that. I guess it was like a bluish turquoise-ish, like top that Waleed gave her. I thought that was a nice moment too.
Yeah, like a dark teal, I would say. Almost. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. But overall, like my thoughts, I've been rambling here for a second. I do apologize, but I really just continue to love this series. Like I said, I don't want to speak too soon because we do have 2 more episodes left. I felt like I did that a little bit with Star Wars, but I mean, I still overall enjoyed Kenobi. But between the two, I mean, there's great moments in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but I really think Miss Marvel tells a better story. Absolutely. And no Amir this episode, the brother, unfortunately, is one of my favorites. I guess why would he be in this episode after Kamala crashed his wedding?
His wedding is ruined and then they all leave him.
That's pretty much what happened. And it's like, it's the suckiest thing in the world. But as I said before, just another great episode. So I think Devin kind of touched on it earlier. We are about to head into spoilers. So that is your first spoiler warning for Miss Marvel episode 4 again. That is your second spoiler warning for Miss Marvel episode 4. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. What are you doing? It's on Disney Plus. It's a lot of fun. Don't click on Obi-Wan just yet, but definitely check out Miss Marvel because it's killing it. I mean, I'm really happy to see that, the audience scores and everything is kind of turning around for the average tomato meter for, at least for the series overall so far, is a 96% and average audience score is 82. So it's like, I mean, dare I say, I loved Moon Knight, but like, dare I say, this is a really good story. And I'm blown away by it. And like you said before, there's no theories, and that's why I'm enjoying it so much. I just want to enjoy the story and see where Kamala's journey takes her.
And even if there are theories, the story is doing such a good job, the writing's doing such a good job of keeping surprises for us. Because I feel like nobody could have predicted like the twists and turns we've had so far, especially at the end of this episode, like time travel.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously it could always be an illusion or just like a dream or something, but as of now, she traveled back in time.
Yeah,
and, the theory is that she because everyone talks about her grandma's story of the stars guiding her to safety. She could be the stars. She could be what saved her grandma. Like it could be like this incredible time loop.
That is true. Or I was gonna say, was it Captain Marvel? I haven't seen her in a while, but I really don't know when. I highly doubt it, but highly doubt it. But I think that would be a really nice twist to have Kamala be her grandmother's North Star, essentially, to find her way back home. But yeah, the time travel is fantastic. We get more into the Red Daggers. I love the introduction of Kareem from the Red Dagger, and
their secret base is so cool. Waleed's great, Kareem's great. Like, yeah, everything about the Red Daggers really worked.
It did, because it's almost as if Kamala, she's in a new country that I'm not sure if she's been to as of yet. I'm assuming that she has when Kamala was younger, but this is our first time seeing Kamala in Pakistan. And it's kind of like a new world for her. She kind of gets dissed by her cousins, like I said before. Like, her cousins were like, oh yeah, we're going to go meet up with some friends. And then she's like, hey, can you take me to the train station? And her cousins are like, well, no, we're just going to go meet up with our friends. So we'll just see you later. I'm like, you're just going to leave your cousin in the middle of this like street market? She doesn't know where she is, like, whatsoever. So it's
getting
like
ripped off by photographers.
Oh my gosh, that was insane. He was so excited with that Polaroid camera. He's like, look at your picture. And she's like, yeah, I have like a million of them on my phone. But I just thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, the introduction to the Red Daggers, this is the second group that Kamala has ran into in this series. The first group, the Jinn, haven't really worked out so well. Kamran has been left by his pack as well, by the Jinn.
Yeah, they escaped the DODC, which is, it might be the weaker part of the episode, just because it felt kind of easy. They were being transported in some kind of weird underground pipe system. Yeah. And then they just kind of break free.
I will say it was a better breakout scene than in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I feel like they're struggling with all their breakout scenes. Even in Obi-Wan Kenobi, that one was rough too. I feel like it's just kind of tough to make it seem like it's not too easy, because it always looks too easy.
Yeah, I do agree there. I will say, and this is the funny, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but you really got to watch Daredevil. I'm telling you, there's a breakout prison scene that lasts at least oh my gosh, it's 15 minutes or maybe a little bit less. And it is wonderful. I think I might have mentioned it when we were talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it is quite possibly the best breakout scene I've seen of any TV or movie. It is fantastic. It feels so realistic. The stakes are high. It's crazy. But yeah, so the Jinn kind of, they escaped from the DOD, which I think the reason why the DOD is so hell-bent on these supernatural humans, it's probably because of the events of Spider-Man. But it's I think Miss Marvel happens after Spider-Man. I'm not 100% sure. But that would be my thought process, because it's especially after everything that happened with Wanda as well. But that was SWORD that was after Wanda, not the DOD. So I'm not entirely sure how all that works or if they're in cahoots with each other. But yeah, that's whole time traveling. It really is the ending of this episode or not even just the ending, between Kamala's mother and grandmother, they shared a really nice scene together where, this entire time we see, we thought that the two had really bad blood between each other, and it really just seemed like more of a misunderstanding, which is kind of cool to see, which is nice, where it's not like, oh, family like hates each other type situation. But it is more of just the, hey, we like Kamala's mother's like, I didn't need somebody who was like artistic and like had their heads in the clouds. She's like, I needed my mother. And her mom's like, I have toffee for you.
Rock hard toffee.
Boxes and boxes of hard toffee. And I actually like how they address kind of the culture change in Pakistan versus, I guess you just say, like in Jersey, where Kamala is actually wearing jeans and they won't let them sit inside because she's not culturally appropriately dressed. And
she can't handle the heat of the food or the weather.
I was just about to say that, Devin. Kamala cannot handle the heat. She can't handle the spice at all. And I really love how when she first meets Kareem, well, after she like meets all of her buddies, she's like around the campfire. One dude's like playing guitar, like, hey man, what's up? I was like, that is such just like a movie type thing. Like, oh, these are my friends. And they're all just like,
and now they're your friends, and then we get along seamlessly.
They're all like mildly attractive people. One dude's picking the guitar in the corner, like, hey, what's up? And then like, I didn't realize like when she first comes up, the camera only shows like 3 guy friends. I didn't know there was like 2 or 3 other girls like on the other side until I'm like, who are these? Who are these people? Like, they didn't say hello. I didn't. I thought it was pretty funny, but that's just a small little thing. I mean, it is what it is, but I just thought it was pretty funny to point out there. But I'll pass it back over to Devin really quick. If you have anything that you wanted to touch on that we haven't before we get into our ratings and final thoughts.
Yeah, I just wanted to dig a little bit more into the Red Daggers because I just loved that reveal and I loved kind of their setup. I mean, they're kind of hidden in a way in a like a restaurant, like hidden dungeon, like fortress type thing. You gotta like flip up a spatula to get into it. It was really cool. And then just the technology they have within their little fortress was really cool too. They kind of had these 3D displays showing that the clandestines / the jinns are from, I think they called it a different realm.
Yeah,
because there's like a lot of terms that are being tossed around in the MCU lately. We got realms, we got universes, we got pocket realities. Like, there's a lot going on, so it's kind of important to like differentiate them. But apparently, if the jinns return back to their realm because of the proximity to their 616 realm, then they would take over, and there would be no more 616 in the MCU, which is a big deal. It's very interesting to see just visually, like, where they're from and what their plan is. Like, they really are up to no good. And hopefully the Red Daggers are the good guys that are helping out Ms. Marvel here. She's not getting duped again.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I mean, and we also really quick, we see Kamala, like you mentioned before, she's starting to get her outfit kind of sorted together. She's got...
Yeah, it's like one piece at a time. The bangles and then the vest and then... Oh, actually, no, the bangles and then the eyepiece and then the vest.
Eyepiece, yeah, and the vest part, which I'm interested to see how, if it's going to be, yeah, like how, I guess, authentic. But I'm very excited to see, her finally in. I'm thinking
she's got to get her red scarf cape type thing. I'm guessing she'll get that from Kareem at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I'm hoping so. Or maybe Bruno. I made this for you, Kamala.
Just go to college, Bruno. Just move on.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, buddy.
Go to Caltech. Move on with your life. Become the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg. Well, maybe not.
Or the villain for season 2.
The villain. Oh, yeah.
Scorned lover. Can't have what he wants.
You ruined me, Kamala. You ruined me.
If I can't have you, no one can. You will talk about Bruno.
Everyone talks about Bruno now. Everyone knows you. Everyone knows my name.
It's crazy that we aren't writers. I just feel like it's a perfect fit. Like, Kevin, what are you doing?
I've seen some some questionable fan base stuff out there, and they're like, "No, this is how you make a Star Wars or Marvel movie." I'm like, I'm really glad that these people are not writers. Maybe yes. I mean, we can just throw some ideas around in the idea room. Let's brainstorm. We don't necessarily have to be writers. Just like, hey, you should do this, this, and this. But I don't know. It is what it is. But really quick, let's get into our final thoughts and ratings. So, Devin, I'll pass it over to you so you can give your ratings and final thoughts, and then I'll give mine, and we'll get the heck on out of here.
Also, just a quick mention about how cool that chase scene was in the street. Like a real long take. Like, you get to see like the vibrance and the livelihood of the inner city there in those streets. It was really cool chase scene, and overall the fighting and the fight scenes in this episode were definitely a step up from the last episode.
Yeah.
So definitely a good step in the right direction there. So overall, I'd give this episode like a 93, like a real step up from the first three, like I mentioned, the first time that it really wowed me, and I'm really just excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely for me, for my rating, I would also give it like a 93. And also Marvel loves their chase scenes, like 100%. Like, I think that's probably some of the best work that they do. I mean, we've been seeing them a lot, especially within this and Moon Knight, as well as Hawkeye. So it keeps going. I need some bros in this episode. In this bro, what are you doing?
They're in
bro?
New Jersey somewhere.
They have to be. The bro New Jersey, what was like a cleaning service or something, expanding their their company to New Jersey. Oh, we're going across the river, bro. That would be great. I need to see at least one bro. I need to watch Hawkeye again is what I need to do, because I love that series. Faults and all, for sure. But yeah, I'm pretty much going to echo everything Devin said. It was fantastic episode. You know, it really just nailed that, that story driven. It just keeps getting better and better. And I mean, I think a lot of people were misreading this. I mean, who cares if she doesn't have her, original comic powers? It's like, I saw a tweet the other day. Someone was like, oh yeah, like, I mean, if you're expecting everything from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be just like the comics, you're already setting yourself up to fail. No matter what you do. I was actually listening to NerdTube about this, and one of their hosts over there, I believe her name was Melissa. She loves Spider-Man, absolutely loves Spider-Man, 100%. But she told Bo, the other host over there, that she was like, Spider-Man is my favorite hero, but I don't think we'll ever see a perfect adaptation of Spider-Man, because no adaptation of Spider-Man will match the imagination or the adaptation of she has a Spider-Man in her mind. And I feel like that is totally valid. But there's a lot of people out here who are just, they're like, oh, well, Miss Marvel doesn't have her powers, so this entire series is going to suck. And it's like, well, her abilities and her powers are just one aspect of the show. It's about the journey that Kamala takes to become the first season. It's also the first season, exactly. So it's I think I really love what they've done with her powers, especially in this episode. We see a lot of it. She starts to kind of, get a little bit more into what she's honing her skills and whatnot. But I really love this series so far, and I love it to bits. Every single actor has been giving it their all, and I mean, if all ends well, this very might take over WandaVision, or for me, in my mind, I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. But yeah, it's been great so far. So that pretty much concludes our coverage of Ms. Marvel episode 4. Again, that is titled Seeing Red, Not Turning Red. or being red. I guess it could be turning red because, like you said, Kamala cannot handle the heat. She can't handle it. She can't handle the weather. She can't handle the food. Cannot handle that Pakistani food whatsoever. But really quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you heard on today's episode, please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Again, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And always make sure to share an episode of our podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And before we get out here, really quick, what's coming up on the podcast? We have the Black Phone review that is up on podcast services around the world, as well as our Umbrella Academy Season 3 non-spoiler review and our Obi-Wan Kenobi Parts 4 through 6 spoiler discussion that is on podcast services around the world, around the globe, atmosphere, universe, sure. And we also have our Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2 episode's going to be dropping on July 5th, the day after the holidays. We don't want to drop any other content while people are enjoying time with their family. So, and that'll give people enough time to watch this epic finale until, another 2 years until the final season. So, fingers crossed. I don't know what's going on there. So, with that said, we'll see you guys later, and we hope you have a great day. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.